Well, hello there, everyone. I am Anne La Follette, and I am delighted to see you here today. This is my regular weekly chat about art, creativity, and surface design. And today's topic is all about conquering our fear of new technology. And my blog post that I wrote about last night is all about this topic. And so if you missed actually reading the blog, you can go to annelafolletteart.com/blog to read all of the details. But I also wanted to share my thoughts about it here. I have 5 tips to share with you today that have always really helped me when I am facing either an app that I can't make work properly, or there's an upgrade to a program that I'm used to using and it's not working. And so I wanted to jump on today to talk about it. And this week is a really, really busy week for me because I leave tonight to actually go to Phoenix for 2 days worth of sort of mastermind work on my business. And then I'm flying to Southern California because I'm going to be on a panel. And my panel conversation is all about how to overcome the fear of technology. And as you guys know, I am Anne La Follette, and I'm a blogger, illustrator, and surface designer, and I've reinvented myself in my mid-50s. And so the technology aspects of running my own business online were very daunting at the beginning. And I really had to figure out how to get over my fear of tackling those technology fears. So I thought that since this is an issue that many people in my age cohort and also many people who are running businesses online face, I thought I'd jump into my top 5 tips, and the tips that I tell myself, they're kind of tips and techniques that I tell myself when I am actually either getting frustrated with the technology and I want to throw my computer out the window, or I'm basically feeling like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to figure this out. So the first one is, and even before I jump into the 5 tips, I just wanted to mention that there's this old expression that says you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I actually looked it up because I wanted to know how long it's been around. I wanted to know if some very specific person is attributed to having said it. And I found that it actually is an idiom from the 1500s, and it isn't attributed to any one person. And what's really interesting about the definition is it actually is not necessarily about our inability to learn new things. It is more specifically about how once you've done something the same way over and over and over again for years, it's hard to learn how to do that same task differently. And so when I did that research and kind of did that, got closer to sort of what that really means, it was very empowering because it really has nothing to do with our ability to learn new things. And since we have to learn new things all the time in today's world where we're surrounded by new technology, it's actually very heartening to know that you can teach an old dog new tricks, because that whole expression doesn't really have anything to do with learning something new. So anyway, I thought that was fantastic. And so I wanted to jump into the 5 techniques that I use when I'm getting super frustrated and when I just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw my computer out the window because I can't figure this out. And these tips really help me take a deep breath. And tip number 1 is to realize that yes, you can. And it's really a matter of making sure that you've got the right attitude when you're facing that technology fear, and that you've got the right mindset. And one of the things that really helps is that if it's something that you really want to learn how to do. So let me give you an example. When I started to pivot in my mid-50s and started to explore surface design and becoming an entrepreneur and starting my own business, I realized that I had such an incredible passion for this that no matter how difficult the technology was going to be, I knew I could do it because I wanted to get on the other side so desperately and so passionately, and I knew it was going to bring me such incredible joy. So when you're facing a particular technology task and you know it's going to allow you to do something that you have not been able to do before, it's incredibly empowering. And having that mindset about getting to the other side of it successfully really helps you with the yes, you can, and also with figuring out what it's going to take to get yourself there. So that's the whole mindset around tip number 1, which is repeat after me, yes, you can. Then tip number 2 is, which really works for me, is to take it slow. When I first started to learn Adobe Illustrator, because that is the de facto industry standard program for surface designers, it was daunting. It's a very robust program, and most kids are learning it in college, or they're even learning it in high school, and here I am, I'm in my mid-50s trying to figure it out. And what I realized worked for me was to just take it slow. There's nothing that we can't do if we take our time and break it down into bite-sized pieces. And so I highly encourage you to think about that when you're getting frustrated with something. It's slow down, maybe rewatch what it is that you are, the way in which you're learning. And in today's world with online education, it's incredible to have access to these video tutorials where you can just watch them again and again and again until the information really sinks in. It's an incredibly powerful way to learn, and it's an incredibly empowering way to learn because you have access to that information. In the courses that I teach, for example, I have a variety of online courses that you can purchase from me that teach you how to do surface design, and you get lifetime access to them, which is usually sort of an industry standard as well. And so you can watch the material over and over again. And I think that that is another incredibly, incredibly powerful way to approach new technology that I think is really important. One of the other things I wanted to mention about the take it slow is many online courses offer a live component. So for example, my Surface Design Academy program has an 8-week live component where I'm live with you once a week, diving into the topic, showing you some demos on my screen, making sure that I'm answering all of your questions. And so you have live access to me during that 8-week time frame. But you also get lifetime access to the course, and I don't expect you to be able to master every single component or every single module that we're doing each week because they're very robust and they have a ton of information in them. So I recommend when students are taking my courses that they participate in the weekly live activity, but that they don't have this crazy expectation that if I'm teaching you how to do a particular thing, like making a pattern collection, that you're going to master the whole thing in a week. I didn't master it in a week. I have no expectation that you would master how to do it in a week either. And so it's great to be able to then take your time and go back and rewatch and then dive more into actually creating and doing the exercises and getting your own practice and continuing to make progress on your journey after the live component is over. Then the other thing I wanted to mention is tip number 3, or technique number 3, is all about giving yourself grace. And this one is especially important to me because I think that in today's world we are, and frankly maybe this has always been the case, we're always a lot more critical than we are celebratory. We find fault in ourselves, we pick apart our mistakes, and maybe back in the day we needed to identify our mistakes and fix them because that was sort of part of our way to survive when we were back in the jungle. And so it was really important that you had the ability to recognize your mistakes and then fix those mistakes and move forward from those mistakes and correct them. But in today's world where it's a very different environment in which we live, that instinct to always sort of identify what's wrong before you celebrate what's right is very destructive. And I want to make sure that one of my messages to you today is that, we were not born with iPhones in our hands. and however, we're getting very good at feeling really comfortable with our iPhones and technologies that surround us, like the TV remote control. And so it's not a question of not being able to get used to them. We just sometimes need a little bit more time, or we actually need the technology to become easier. And one of the dimensions of technology changing all the time that actually I think is fabulous is it's changing all the time, and it is becoming easier. So I run my entire business now online, and I'm going to this huge conference this weekend, and I'm going to be speaking in front of 1,000 people. And the reason that they wanted me to come down to this conference to talk to these thousands of people, there are many, 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 many speakers, and I'm not a speaker on my own. I'm on a panel. So I'm only going to probably have 4 minutes in total. But I'm so incredibly grateful and feeling very, very blessed that they invited me to begin with. And one of the reasons that they invited me is because I started to do this online business in my mid-50s, and technology, even in the last 5 years, has gotten so much easier. And the people who've invited me, who are doing this giant conference, it's called Kajabi, and it's the platform that houses my monthly membership. That's the Pattern Design Club. It also houses my courses, including my signature course, which is called the Pattern Design Academy. And so all of my business is done actually on this platform called Kajabi. And so one of the things they want me to talk about is, you know, how have I been able to do it? And if I can do it, then really anybody can do it. If you just have the patience to do it, you have the desire to do it, and you also use some of these tips that I have around giving yourself grace, taking it slow, and then also having this mindset of yes, I can, and yes, you can. And so tip number 3 is all around giving yourself grace and remembering that it is more important to continue to make progress and to not worry about perfection, and to embrace this whole concept that as you start to learn these new technologies, they're going to get easier. And so that when there's an update to them, don't be afraid of that update, because the update is probably going to make doing something that was a little bit difficult more easy or easier. And so so that is like one of the things I just wanted to make sure I was talking a little bit about, because giving yourself grace and giving ourselves grace is really, really important. And that leads directly into tip and technique number 4, which is to celebrate every single win. So when you start to hear that voice that's criticizing you, or is pointing out a mistake, or you're looking at your work, or you're trying to do something in your email system and it's not working, immediately step back and say something positive. Think about a win. Think about something that you have gotten to work. Think about the progress that you're making, and make sure that every time that criticism voice comes up, that you're countering that criticism voice with a celebration about a win. And I want to read you this quote that I had from a student over the weekend. She is in one of my courses, and her name is Anna, and she just wrote the most beautiful, beautiful sort of recap of how she moved through a roadblock that she was experiencing in her surface design work. And so I'm going to read it to you. It's from Anna, and it says this about celebrating your wins. I am celebrating the victory and progress made today, no matter how small and slow, because I did it my way, and I didn't give up when I was so frustrated and annoyed with myself. I feel so empowered and joyful because I know how to get past the roadblock. I can't wait to work on more designs. And that is exactly what learning new things is all about. It like keeps our mind agile. It gives us a sense of empowerment, an incredible accomplishment. And it also is when you can figure out something yourself, and I'm there to support, but she didn't want me to give her the answer. She wanted me to sort of explain what was happening so that she could figure out the answer herself. Because once you have that knowledge, no one can take that knowledge away from you. And knowledge is an incredibly powerful both tool and a motivating factor, and provides incredible amounts of inspiration. And so you need to make sure that there's also an incredible adrenaline rush that you get from succeeding on something. And so I encourage you all to, when you have something to celebrate, get up and like dance like Snoopy. I can see sort of in my mind that that GIF that is Snoopy dancing around, and And when it's designed, when it's not actually animated, but you just used to see it in the comic strip, you could tell that he was dancing because his nose was going up in the air and he had those little marks on the side of his body, which meant that his body was shaking. And so I definitely want to make sure that you recognize and celebrate every single win that you experience, because that is going to help you continue to move along in your learning journey. And then tip number 5, and tip number 5 might sound a little bit like a cliche, but I'm going to go with it anyways, and that is enjoy the journey. And I mentioned in my blog today that that this, that A, this is a little bit of a cliche, and B, this just might be a little bit tough for some people and it may not resonate with you. But I wanted to sort of put it into the perspective that I have on it and why I think it's important, and why it's important for me. And you totally don't have to go there if you don't want to go there in terms of enjoying the journey. But the reason that it's important for me is that, as you guys know, I had to pivot. After I got laid off from my job, I was 55 years old. And I had to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I wasn't dead yet. I mean, I've got lots and lots of good years left, right? And so, of course, I tried to get another corporate job and nothing worked. I kept like getting a job, and then they laid me off, or there was a reorganization. And then finally I said, this is crazy. I got to figure out something else to do while I still have tons of energy and I still have the ability to learn new things. And I need to find something joyful that I will love to get up to do every single morning. And I discovered surface design. And then over the course of the past 3 years now, I've been building this whole online business around my monthly membership, the Pattern Design Club, my signature course, which is called the Pattern Design Academy, and then various other products. Many of you are in actually my bonus experience for the 2019 immersion course by Bonnie Christine, who's one of my mentors. But it's all about surface design and the joy that surface design brings and the transformation that surface design can bring in your creative practice and also in your business. And so enjoying the journey for me is all about, I am on this journey now. I love this journey. I wake up every day and I can't wait to work more on my business and to support those of you who are in my programs and those of you who are in my free Anne's Art Club group, and those of you who are now participating in the 100-day challenge with me that started today. So this journey is joyful. This journey is amazing. I want to embrace every single minute, and I want to enjoy it because it's going by very quickly. and yet there are many, many more years ahead of me that I know I'll be doing this very same thing. And it's not, as you guys know, my motto is it's never too late to create. And so even though I am coming into my creativity now, I'm 60, I'm really blossoming into my full creativity. It's never too late to create, and I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the frustrating parts as well as the joyful parts, because it's a journey that I want to be on. This is exactly where I want to be every day, talking to you and providing you with encouragement and helping you as much as I possibly can embrace your own creative journey, and meeting you where you are right now, wherever that is in your journey, and then supporting you with both my my paid programs and my free content in any way that I can, because I want to share this feeling of joy and transformation that surface design has brought to me. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about the fact that do something that you love. As you continue to explore what you want to be doing next, do what you love. Find something that you truly love. There's nothing like this feeling of not wanting to go to bed at night because I want to work on another design, or I'm tweaking a course and I'm getting feedback from you about something I can improve in either my membership or in one of my courses. I love it. I totally, totally love it. And I wake up in the morning and I jump out of bed, and what's great is I can just jump in the shower, and then I'm at work. I work from home, so I'm at work. I don't have to waste any time in the car. And anyways, I can go on and on and on about enjoying the journey and how much I'm currently enjoying the journey. And so I think that you should keep that tip in mind. So quickly, to just recap for all of you. So the whole idea here is that as you're facing technology in particular, and it's frustrating you, please think about these top 5 tips. And then I'm going to jump into the comments, because I know many, many familiar faces are here today, and I totally want to hear from you, especially like which one of these do you like the best. And so the first tip is to repeat after me. Yes, you can. And then tip number 2 is take it slow. Tip number 3 is give yourself grace. Tip number 4 is celebrate every win. And then tip number 5 is enjoy the journey. And remember, I always like to say in closing that I'm Anne La Follette, and it's never too late to create. Bye for now.